Dear members of the Citizen Science Division, early this year, I was made aware of a developing situation with one of our partners, Myriad. For 3 months now, they've been working hard to contain a delicate series of events involving one of their clients.
This crisis is changing the natural balance of our planet.
The situation is volatile, and I'm reaching out to you for help.
There is no doubt in the world scientific community that this is a direct result of human activity. You know what will happen if this scourge is left unchecked.
An official communication from Atlas will give you all the information needed for the procedure to collect this data.
Tools are in our hands if we apply them before it is too late. The last best hope of Earth.
Thank you for your help. It's nice to see you again.
What up, Jippers? LPlay's back once again for another Waking Titan update video, and I'm going to be giving you the rundown on everything that's happened over the last few days since my last Waking Titan update video, and once again it has been pretty freaking crazy. So let's jump in and bring you up to speed. Now, at the end of the last update video, the situation we were in was that the Where Dev kits had started arriving with the Where Dev winners. We'd also found a number of audio files on them that appeared to be recordings from Arnaud, detailing his experiences with the Where headset, and it looked like he was having some pretty nasty side effects at the time. And of course, on the dev kits, we first found the Myriad Uplink app. So this was an application installed on those phones that were sent out to the Where Dev Kit winners. It was also available for all of us to find via the link to an online browser version of the application, but we did not have a way to get into this app. There was no code, we were trying to figure it out, and we were pretty stuck. But that has all changed. So from the top, what's happened since then? Well, on May the 22nd at around 7 PM UTC time, there were a number of text messages that were sent via the Skype app to those phones that the Where Dev Kit winners had received. So the first one was from Geraldine Nadeau, and it said, "I don't have much time to talk. I'm in contact with Zeng. I may have an opening into Where's medical docs, but I'm not sure yet. I'll contact you again soon. Update on Arnaud's condition. Vital signs have been very unstable during the last week. Heart rate and blood pressure have stabilized for 2 days. Heart rate at 57 to 62 beats per minute and blood pressure at 110/70. And then there was another one from Mercury Process this time, and that said, Mercury Process Directive 16.b. Carefully review the data dump. Send all analysis and findings to Mercury at atlas-65.com. Then on May the 23rd at 7:30 UTC time, a load more messages came in, and the first one again from Geraldine. This said, "Thank you so much. I have been told that Where is on high alert and extremely vigilant right now. They've doubled their security measures and we couldn't get access to their medical documents, but we'll keep trying. I don't know if they are aware of my contact with Zeng. If you're willing to help, here's an update on Arnaud's condition. Heart rate and blood pressure still stable, EEG in high gamma zone at 82, oxygen levels stabilized at 94%. Then on the 24th, this was followed up by another message at 7:43 UTC time, again from Geraldine, and that was another update on Arnaud's condition. No change in heart rate or blood pressure, EEG still in high gamma zone at 87, examination of body showed slight discoloration of the fingertips, and then she finished off with a message saying, "We're getting close to a breach and we'll probably have something more for you tomorrow." Then on the 25th at 8:56 UTC time, another message from her, and this said, "I need your help concerning one of the dev kits. There are 2 dev kit recipients that I haven't yet been able to make contact with. One of them is still in transit, but the other appears to have arrived at its destination. I'm concerned that Where may have intercepted the kit, which would be disastrous considering the risk that we are taking. If you know of another dev kit recipient that I haven't yet been able to contact, please forward them this message and ask them to reach out to me." So it looked like Where were potentially intercepting packages and being up to their classic nefarious ways once again. And this is when things started to get really freaking interesting, and we had an absolute flurry of activity in a pretty short space of time. This was very late for me, so this was on the 25th of May at 9:42 UTC time. The output of the status command on wakingtitan.com updated. So it updated with a load of the processes and a status on each of them. So Cassini was incomplete, WT16 incomplete, uplink incomplete, and loop 16 processing, and then it came up with a guidance subroutine checksum and a long hex code. That hex code translating to the following: waiting instructions 10/15 A010 SEEB, and then downloading voice data. And the third one there, the A/010 SEEB, actually led us to an album on Imgur, and that contained images of items that you would need to make your own version of a blacklight. So these were purple, blue, and black felt tip pens, a little flashlight, and some sellotape. Basically, if you use those, you can fashion your own version of a blacklight. And that got us thinking that with the blacklight, we had to shine that on either the dev kits or the books that had gone out to people to try and figure out what the next clue was. Then very shortly after that, at 10:15, another message came through from Skype, and it said, "I'm forwarding you the last messages Zeng sent me. Hopefully you can make sense of it. It kind of looks like a list, but I don't know what it means." And then following that, there were 4 strings of numbers, and it turned out that all of these were ASCII numbers, and they translated to a load of codes that actually turned out to be the end of pastebin URLs. So that gave us 4 pastebin links, and each of those gave us a new file. And the first one of those was one of the missing audio clips, so I'm going to play that for you now.
"I'm very sorry you experienced discomfort using our device. Can you please give me the last 4 characters of your client number?"
And along with that, the 3 other links each contained PDF files, and these were essentially clues on how to treat Arnaud's condition. And then based on the information on how to treat that condition, players sent the following instructions back to Dr. Nadeau as the treatment plan that should be issued to Arnaud to try and bring him back to life. Free-flowing pads, a defib, epinephrine, mood regulator pills, music, and then a propofol injection. And after that was sent, we got a response back saying, "Thank you very much. As you and 2 other dev kit holders confirmed similar steps, I'll assume this is the right procedure to follow. Can you please confirm by saying yes or no?" Then the dev kit holder sent back, of course, with a yes, and then that treatment was administered, and she sent a message back saying, "Proceeding to treatment, I'll update you soon." And then shortly after that, the status command in Waking Titan updated once again with a change in the Cassini status. This time it moved from incomplete to processing. So it seems that the Cassini protocol was the treatment of Arnaud. Then on the 26th of May at 1:24 AM UTC time, another Skype message was received from Geraldine, and this one said that Arnaud was responding positively despite the highly unusual procedures, and it also just outlined that they still didn't know what kind of side effects he was going to have as a result of all of this, but it did look like he was coming back from his vegetative state into the land of the living. And then she just said, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me in these conditions." And that then triggered the final status update for Cassini, which changed from processing to completed. So the Cassini process was now over. Now onto the glyphs. That's right, the remaining Waking Titan glyph, for anyone who hasn't heard, have all now been solved. We have completed every single glyph on wakingtitan.com. All 15 of them, plus the original one that used to be the home screen, so that makes all 16 glyphs in total fully solved, and this is how we did that. At 1:36 AM UTC time, a Skype message came from Mercury Process, and that said, "Attention to all involved parties, please make detailed inspection of your wear package for possible anomalies. Be sure to use the appropriate equipment and document your investigation while broadcasting to involved partners. Thank you for your collaboration." So this was basically telling us to use those black lights that we'd created on the wear packages and then stream that for everyone else to see. And that led to a code that was found on one of the dev kit boxes, and that code turned out to be a book cipher, and this basically identified the page, line and word that should be looked at in the books that Hello Games had sent out to some of the community members previously. And it turned out that in Cobra's book, and this was quite funny, so at the time we were actually on Twitter trying to contact Cobra, telling him, "Get the blacklight, look at your book." He went out and brought an expensive blacklight. He was trying to get it to work, and then somebody else managed to solve it before he had a chance to, just by basically getting their own copy of the book that he had. And that book, of course, was The Conscious Mind in Search of Fundamental Theory by David J. Chalmers. And the phrase that we found, so this was the clue, the little secret that we had to try and find, was "He who contains the entire universe." So that was it, that was the clue. And that led people to the Mesopotamian god Anu, who is one of the gods that's described as being the god who contains the entire universe. So that's how the phrase linked back to Anu, and Anu turned out to be the password for the 14th glyph on wakingtitan.com. And when Anu was entered on wakingtitan.com, we got another response back, and that said, "Marked with honeycomb scars, I am the lowest of the low." So another little riddle for us to try and figure out. Then on another one of the dev kits, the phrase "high up in the dark" and "a rising panic" were also found under a black backlight, and they turned out to be clues for the remaining glyphs 11, 12, 13, and 15. And these were Oronus, Horus, Nuada, and Triglav. All of those were sky gods, just like Anu before, and basically some of those we hadn't actually been given the clues for, but because we knew the theme was sky gods, people were just trying every sky god they could think of, and that managed to like brute force their way into all of the glyphs, and that's how we completed every single glyph. Probably a little bit earlier than intended, but then again, once we had the theme, I'm sure that Alice and Smith knew that we were going to crack them all. So hopefully that hasn't jumped us ahead too far, and they're now having to scramble to try and come up with something else. So that was the glyphs all done, but then when we used those codes also as status inputs on WakingTitan.com, we got another load of clues back. So the Oronus one came back with Usiversu, Horus came back with the phrase, "From my red soil, 4 times rises Vulcan." Nuada came back with a random code, and then Triglav also came back with a random code. And those codes again turned out to be the end of URLs for pastebin links, so when we put those in, we got another load of links, which led to even more complex strings of code. And then a little while after that, the third status in Waking Titan updated once again, and this time it updated with a bit.ly link, and that led to a page on IBM's Resilient website. So I'll show that here, and it turned out that one of the people mentioned on this page was a guy called Bruce Schneer, and he was a developer of the encryption method called Blowfish. So that's another cipher method used for encrypting data. And it turned out that that decryption method was the one that we had to now use on those long strings of codes that I mentioned from the pastebin links, and when they were used, "From my red soil, 4 times rises Vulcan," that turned out to be Tharsis. Marked with honeycomb scars, "I am the lowest of the low," that turned out to be Hellas. And then "high up in the dark, a rising panic," which turned out to be Phobos. And it was also found that the hex converted properly into ASCII text and provided even more riddles once again. And those riddles were: "The hills I have conquered honor the lost who preceded my journey. From the hills I can see the headless horseman's lair, and with me came great openings." All of these referred to the Spirit rover, which landed on Mars in 2004 in real life. And with a bit of research, it was found that one of the code names for that rover was MER-A. So that's MER-A, and that of course turned out to be the code, the deployment code that we'd been searching for to finally access the Uplink Myriad app. So now we can open that app, we can get it working, we can actually use it. But before we get onto what the app did, shortly after the glyphs were all solved, a user named Atlas-Loop16 posted a YouTube video on the No Man's Sky subreddit.
Emily, Protocol 16, now active. 42 is a pronic number and an abundant number. Its prime factorization, 2 times 3 times 7, makes it the second sphenic number and also the second of the form 2 times 3 times r.
That's right, Emily is back. She has made an appearance, Loop16, in a video once again after a very long time. And it turns out she was quoting one of the first submissions to the voice reconstruction process that I mentioned in the last update video. So for those that have forgotten, that was where we were all asked to go to Wikipedia, find a random sentence, record ourselves saying it, and then submit it for this voice reconstruction process that was taking place back on May the 18th. So this was just a quote from Emily that was taking that first one that was submitted and reading it out loud. Then the status page on Myriad 70 updated again, and that displayed the following: latest network diagnostic table, initializing connection, Myriad code CJ16-02, public name SJ16-02, and NORAD ID 41634. And at the same time as this, on Reddit, the Atlas Loop 16 user started replying to comments. So people were asking questions, submitting comments to this user, and every 16 minutes we were getting a response back from Emily from Loop 16, and she was giving us quotes from the lore in the game No Man's Sky. So we were getting quotes from there, but something was wrong with them. They all had one word that had been changed. And when those words were put together, they gave us the phrase, "Tell them you have a direct line to Myriad." Then the status command in the terminal updated once again, and this time it said, "All tasks completed, launching Mercury process, establishing connection." And then shortly after that, all of the dev kit holders got a new Skype message, and this one came from Mercury process with a link to another YouTube video titled Mercury Part 1 of 3. So it's important to remember, I'm going to play this for you now, but it's important to remember that it looks like we're about to get 2 more of these videos, or messages at least, hopefully very soon, because this gave us, of course, the freaking awesome player models, the first mega tease of content that's coming in next, the actual player model that we're going to get in the game. So there we go, a massive feature tease. I obviously made the video yesterday about that. Very freaking excited about everything that's given us. If you do want to see me talk about that in way more depth, analysing it, talking about my theories and thoughts on it and what it tells us, make sure you go back and watch that video. But that was pretty much it for the Waking Titan stuff. However, we did all receive an Old Gods email. So for anyone who's new to the ARG, make sure you sign up to the Atlas CSD forum. But previously in the ARG, we all had a chance to sign up and submit our email addresses, and we would then receive updates from Old Gods. So Old Gods was the email address, basically the puppet masters of the ARG, and the way they communicate to everybody taking part would be an email from the Old Gods email address to our personal email addresses, or whichever ones we chose to use. So I'll show that email for you now. I'll just scroll through that just so you can see everything that's on there. But the big thing on here was a video broadcast, a message from Elizabeth Layton. We knew this was coming because we saw her Instagram the other day, her personal Instagram for the actual actor that plays Elizabeth. It looked pretty obvious that she was doing a Waking Titan shoot. So we knew something like this was coming soon, and now we finally got it. So I'll play that in a minute, but I'll just go through the update on the email in detail before we play the actual video. So Project Satcom 70, where should I start? All members are invited to install the uplink Satcom-70 app and gather key telemetry around the world. You can access the app on desktop, tablet or mobile. On mobile you will also see detailed instructions on how to install the app. And it said make sure you use Chrome on Android and Safari on iOS. So the link for that will be in the description. It's also on the email for anyone who received that. Basically it's telling us to go and install that app, pin it to our homepage, and then sync up with that so that we can submit our data to help the process move along. And the way we can do this, the way we can help, is to go into that app, activate geolocalization on our phones, and then click gather data. Once you do that, you can gather data whenever the satellite is orbiting close to your location. So there's a couple of trackers that you can use to do this. I'll share a link for one of those below. But basically what you want to do, you want to open that, you want to load it up, you want to see where the satellite is supposedly heading at the moment. You can see its trajectory, and you can find out when it's going to be close to your area in real life. When it gets close to your area, that's when you should try using the app to sync up with it. And that will give you the best connection to get the successful sync, and then that's what we need to do to progress the next part of the Waking Titan ARG. Then at the end of the email it just says we'll contact you with further instructions. It says you can track the satellite here, so link for that again will be in the description. And what this is essentially doing is uploading telemetry data to their database, and the engineers at the Atlas Foundation will use that to repair all of the corrupted subroutines in the satellite network and restore network stability. So this is basically helping Myriad, helping the Atlas Foundation to counteract whatever damage that Ware have done to that network. And it says it should take about a week, but it could be less time depending on how many citizen scientists across the world help. So that's why it's really important that all of you watching this try and do this, get the app, try and sync up with the satellite, try and submit your telemetry data, and that should hopefully get things moving a little bit quicker if we're lucky. So I'm now going to play the video from Elizabeth Layton, and then we'll talk about the final bits in the email, because I'm actually in there, so that's something I definitely want to quickly mention.
Dear members of the Citizen Science Division, early this year, I was made aware of a developing situation with one of our partners, Myriad. For 3 months now, they've been working hard to contain a delicate series of events involving one of their clients. The situation is volatile, and I'm reaching out to you for help. A core satellite involved in this project, CJ-1602, cannot be reached and needs our immediate attention. The satellite should pass over your location in the next few days. We need you to gather telemetry data about when it happens. An official communication from Atlas will give you all the information needed for the procedure to collect this data. Thank you for your help. It's nice to see you again.
So that was the message, and it definitely is nice for us to see Elizabeth once again. To hear that guiding voice giving us a bit of direction and telling us what we need to do to stop Ware and set things straight. So now let's talk about the rest of the email where I mentioned that I'm in there. I found this quite funny at the time. Basically, this is just giving a recap on what's been happening before. It says, earlier this year, a company called Ware Tech revealed a new headset promising to harness the power of dreams for productivity, relaxation, and gaming. Files were intercepted by their development community at PAX East in Boston this last April. Those those files pointed to a Ware developer named Arnaud. Not long after that, the files were intercepted. One of the Ware's research and development staff got reported missing, so that was Zeng. We then tracked Zeng down from Montreal to Paris to London, and of course, the London live drop, that's where I was, that's where we got the conclusion, and we gathered what we needed to help them apprehend Zeng. And in the email here, you can see a picture of the British Museum in London, so that's from my live stream. And then the bottom one there, the little lockbox, that's my hand holding the lock, with my little YouTube logo there in the corner as well. So I just found that pretty funny. Basically, my hand is now famous. And that was just a really cool little reminder of just how fun that live drop was. Definitely one of my favourite things in the whole of Waking Titan so far. Just such a great day and like time to meet all the other No Man's Sky fans and Waking Titan CSD members. Yeah, it was just a really good time. Then it just goes on to explain how the Atlas Foundation has been called in to assist Ware with their technical issues. Basically because Ware hosts some of their software on the Myriad satellite network. Then difficulties obviously happened there. They messed up Myriad, and that affected some of their own projects, including Emily or Loop 16. She has suffered severe damage as a result of whatever Ware have done to mess up the Myriad systems. And that is what we are trying to repair. So us uploading this telemetry data to restore that network and restabilizing it is all to help Emily, to help Loop 16, to try and recover her and bring her back to stabilized levels. And then the final closing statement here says, we are now preparing for a critical new phase of this project, which will need extensive support from the Citizen Science Division, so that's all of us. It says you can collaborate with other citizen scientists and follow for updates on our progress using the following resources. And then there's just a link to the Reddit, the Atlas CSD forum, which used to be called ETARC, Game Detective's website, and the Discord channel. So yeah, make sure you're going to all of those places. Links will be in the description of this video, and stay tuned for what's going to happen next, because not only have we got to do this uplink thing, it looks like there's going to be a lot more stuff for us to do based on that wording there, just saying extensive support from the Citizen Science Division will be required. So stay tuned, we'll see what happens next. I'm hoping in these next 2 Mercury emails or messages that we get, we're going to get 2 more videos, possibly an actual gameplay shot or image, or maybe even a real short video clip of the player model running in the game. That would be super cool, or possibly something else, something we're not expecting at all. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. I think whatever comes in those things is going to be pretty freaking big, and I'm excited about that. And of course, I'll be covering it here on the channel as soon as that happens. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy that. If you did enjoy this video, or you did find it useful, please do drop a like and a comment. That stuff helps like crazy. I've got my own merch now and a Patreon. I won't talk about that too much, but the links will be in the description of the comment below. If you do support me there, thank you so much. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Take care of yourselves, and peace. I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my current Patreon supporters. Dale from the Atlas Hub, Anarchy, Vanilla, who goes by the gamer tag YNYS, Yo, Madeline J, UK Gamer 84, Todd C, Neil B, Rasmus K, Joanne's A, Heath, and the Portrait Dude.